Good afternoon, everybody. It is 2:04 p.m., December 13, 2022. We have two current tornado warnings that just popped up in the last 10 minutes. One includes a storm that is over Longview with the business area of the storm crossing Interstate 20 right now. The rotation is just on the southeast side of Longview, so let's start with that storm. There's two storms, one just past Rusk and north of Reklaw. The second one, the more serious looking one at the second here, does appear to be this storm in Longview. Okay, that's the Gregg and Harrison County storm. Just crossing Interstate 20 on the southeast side of Longview. This storm is very capable of producing a tornado. No reports at the moment. We have Stephen Jones and Ben McCone both there on that storm waiting to see if they can spot any tornadic activity. Kind of hard to see, and there's a lot of traffic on Interstate 20 from what it looks like. But I'm waiting to see if they make any reports. Definitely a lot of rain, low clouds, fog, rapid rising motion, but they have not spotted a tornado. Does look real windy, real rainy. Okay, so this storm, our chasers Stephen Jones and Ben McCone are right around this area on Interstate 20. Okay, southeast side of Longview, and the area of rotation's really just over Interstate 20 right now. Okay, so it's a little farther back. There's the area of rotation, very tight couplet. Okay, so there are definitely inbound and outbound winds very close together, gate to gate shear. Now it's just a matter of spotting that in the heavy rain, low clouds, the trees, and some fog even. So I'm kind of taking a look at their stream. You can watch their stream. If you want to watch their stream, it is live on YouTube on Texas Storm Chasers and Tornado Intercept. And my son is interested in things. But yeah, serious situation right now. We don't have a tornado reported per se, but a strong area of rotation on Interstate 20, just southeast of Longview, and that is coming straight toward Hallsville. So, Hallsville, get underground. If you have a basement, or most interior, innermost, bottom level of your structure or building. Okay, I'm going to try to keep the baby entertained here. But yes, southeast side of Longview, Texas, we have a strong gate-to-gate shear. Very concerned that a tornado could drop at any moment, if not something already trying to come down now. So Longview, you are not currently in the path of this storm, as it is southeast of you and is moving toward Hallsville. Hallsville, Texas, you need to be in tornado shelter now. Interstate 20, do not be traveling on Interstate 20 between Longview and, frankly, the Louisiana border right now. This thing's going to track east-northeast all the way to Louisiana. I'm sure this could be a long track supercell thunderstorm capable of dropping 1, 2, or even many more tornadoes. So I'm still keeping an eye on the chase stream from Stephen Jones and Ben McCone. The reds have definitely gone up a tad, so we have increased inflow into this thunderstorm. Not good. Very capable of producing a tornado very soon, if not already. We're waiting on any reports from our guys there. Let's take a look at this storm. Tornado warning for includes Cherokee and Rusk counties. Now, this tornado warning will not last too much longer, but I do think that it'll get reissued as it heads north of Reklaw over to Henderson, Texas. So that's tornado warning. Although it'll expire in 6 minutes, I do expect another one to pop up further downstream there. So folks north of Reklaw, don't be traveling in that area. East of Jacksonville, southwest of Henderson, Henderson proper, and folks around there need to watch out for this area of rotation. Strong rotation, capable of producing a tornado at any moment here. Now, basically just northwest of Reklaw, headed toward Henderson. And if you look at reflectivity, or how hard the rain is falling, you see it is a little bit messy. So at this moment, we might see maybe the southern cell try to take dominance over this cluster. So it is a multicellular cluster right now with an embedded area of rotation just on the north side of Reklaw, headed toward Henderson. But we may see it recycle, organize these mergers. We're kind of waiting to see what happens with those storms. No reports yet, but strong rotation just on the north side of Reklaw still. So folks, be on the lookout. Don't be traveling north of Reklaw.
Moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. Still strong rotation on radar.
Still waiting to see what our guys see in Longview. Strong rotation continues. Gregg and Harrison counties under a tornado warning. And that is good until...
If you are in Nesbitt, Hallsville, you need to be taking your tornado precautions now.
That's good for another 33 minutes. So a long duration tornado warning still for still increasing intensity velocity couplet there on the east side of Longview. Longview, you are not in the path of this storm any longer. Now keep an eye out for any further storm development later before the cool front comes through. But right now we're dealing with this storm tornado warning as a strong couplet comes into Hallsville, Texas. So Hallsville needs to be in tornado shelter right now. And this will also threaten Marshall, Texas. It might go just on the west-northwest side. We'll have to see if it takes a right turn or not. But it looks like it's going to hit real close to Hallsville and Nesbitt. And we don't have a confirmed tornado at this moment. Let me double check. So although it crossed Interstate 20 on the south side of Longview, and we had a pretty good amount of traffic there, in the business area. We don't have any reports that have popped up on radar yet. No Twitter reports yet. And our folks Stephen Jones and Ben McCone there have not quite seen anything yet. But take this seriously. The tornado warning, it could develop a tornado at any given time, so Hallsville needs to be in tornado shelter now. Don't be traveling between Longview and Marshall, even Nesbitt. So folks in that area need to be seeking shelter immediately. Again, and that is for Harrison County, Texas, in the eastern part of the state. Okay, we got a new tornado warning. Okay, so they did reissue the Cherokee and Rusk County tornado warning, as I figured. So we'll go ahead and skip down to Cherokee and Rusk counties again. Take a look at that. Might have a little background music. My son's television. All right. So this warning box should pop up here any moment north of Reklaw up to Henderson. So this first warning box is expiring right now. Area of rotation now just northeast of Reklaw, past the county line and approaching Henderson. So folks near and just a touch south of Henderson need to be in tornado shelter as this area of rotation continues to advance northeast. If we look at reflectivity again, like I said, it is a fairly messy mode here, but you can kind of see just in the reflectivity, you can see just the slightest of curvatures around the backside of that mesocyclone, indicating that your area of rotation is probably right about there, northeast of Reklaw now, moving northeast toward Henderson, south side of Henderson. So keep an eye. It's going to be rain wrapped. It does look like there's a lot of rain all around this area. Pretty enclosed as it gets real messy convectively. But folks, the most important thing you can do is take shelter, save your life. You know, you might not be able to see it, so don't try and go looking for this thing, because it does appear to be a very rain-wrapped tornado at this moment, kind of like the earlier tornadoes were in the DFW Metroplex. Some of them you couldn't see until you were right next to it, so particularly the Grapevine one. Okay, so 2 tornado warnings. Now we got 3. There's one down there. What's that? Might not even notice that until now. Son. Alright, so we literally, the Louisiana-Texas border, we have a tiny mini supercell that is tornado warned, and this tornado warning lasts for 14 more minutes. Sabine and Shelby counties. I can help you out here in a moment. Yeah. Okay, so we do have a 3rd tornado warning for the state of Texas, Sabine and Shelby counties. Sabine County, Shelby County, Texas, and Sabine County, Louisiana, for 14 more minutes as this mini supercell advances across the Sabine River into Louisiana. So folks, get ready for this in Louisiana. This supercell's out ahead of the front, out ahead of the ongoing activity. There's nothing really stopping it. So it is out in the open warm sector with plenty of instability, moisture, and wind shear. So it could be a big issue for Louisiana if it continues to intensify and advance into northwest Louisiana. But since there's not really many people right there, let's go ahead and go back to the Longview storm, Hallsville, if you will now. So this tornado warning supercell continues. It looks It really looks like it wants to do something, guys. Might be some damaging wind, damaging hail, to say the least. But it's got quite a mean look to it. Now, the wind velocity isn't all that eye-opening, so there is rotation. It's a little broadened out right now, but a lot of lightning activity there, and the way the reflectivity is going and the inflow notch does look like it's trying to ingest some clear air into there, so I'm going to keep watching that, of course. So the velocity couplet doesn't look as tight or sustained right now, but it could be recycling. Definitely be on high alert, guys. Nesbitt, North Marshall, perhaps Jefferson, Texas, for this storm as it advances northeast, and it's going real fast. But right now, I don't think we have a tornado on the ground. Let me check the stream. Yeah, so our folks, Stephen Jones and Ben McCone, are there in Hallsville, and they're following the storm. They have not mentioned a tornado at this moment, but the velocity definitely had a look that it wanted to tighten up just a couple scans ago. Now it's loosened a little bit. So it's a wait-and-see situation, but either way, it could drop a tornado even before radar sees it. Folks in Nesbitt need to be taking tornado shelter now as it races up toward northern Marshall. And folks near Jefferson, between Jefferson and Marshall, need to be getting ready to be very close to tornado shelter right now. So, does not look like we have a debris signature. This storm is fairly close to the Shreveport, Louisiana radar, so we should have better visibility if it was to produce a tornado. We'd be able to know. I don't think it dropped a tornado, but it does look to be recycling, so that means the storm might try another push, try to spin up again. So might be a matter of 10 minutes, might be a matter of 30 minutes, but it doesn't look like there's really anything stopping it in the short term. So yeah, folks in Nesbitt need to be in tornado shelter, and then high alert folks between Marshall and Jefferson as this tornado warning storm comes your way, and it's moving relatively fast, I think 50 miles per hour. Let's pivot on toward the storm again now. Cherokee and Rusk counties. Hold on. Ugh. Cherokee and Rusk counties. Excuse me. Okay, so the good news is we're not seeing anything super duper scary here. Area of rotation continues north of Reklaw. Now, might have a subtle correlation coefficient drop out there. We're going to have to watch that. Could indicate some debris got lofted into the air. Now, this is quite a ways farther away from the Shreveport, Louisiana radar, so at this point, it's hard to decipher if that landed up touching down even briefly. It might have touched down north of Reklaw, but as messy as this is, it's going to be rain wrapped. It's going to be hard to see, so don't bother trying to look for it. If you're in the path of this circulation now, about midpoint between Reklaw and Henderson, moving northeast, if you're on the south side of Henderson or traveling between Henderson and Mount Enterprise, get somewhere safe, get indoors, get away from windows, get on your lowest level of your structure or home. Okay, so tornado warning continues there. Cherokee County, Rusk County. That's a just newly updated warning, so it'll be going for another half an hour. If you're wondering about Baldy and Chief David Reimer, Baldy and Chief David Reimer is currently still recovering from his overnight session, staying awake, watching the weather. Now I'm on duty for just a couple of hours, so you gotta deal with me, Jason Cooley. But David Reimer, Baldy and Chief will be back probably by 3:30. So I'm holding down the fort here for coverage. I'm watching Stephen Jones and Ben McCone as they chase. They have a live stream up right now. You can check it out on Texas Storm Chasers YouTube and their page Tornado Intercept YouTube as well. Make sure you follow them. But for right now, they have not spotted a tornado. They're on the storm in Harrison County. So let's go ahead and pivot back northward. Okay, so what I mentioned earlier, it's kind of recycling this storm here in Hallsville and Nesbitt. But I'm still very concerned about the next 10 minutes or so. If this rotation could tighten up again, we might be looking at a more sustained tornado threat here north of Marshall, probably south of Jefferson. So definitely going to stay with you guys, see what this does. Highly evolving situation. Lots of storms coming and going. Yeah, very dynamic environment. But there does not look to be anything impeding the inflow. So there's really not a lot stopping the storm from going ahead and producing tornadoes. And I think it got close. Interstate 20 near Longview, but now it's recycling. North of Marshall, south of Jefferson, avoid travel. Folks near Nesbitt. Marshall proper, you are not in the path of this storm. Hallsville, you are now clear of this storm. Rusk County, Cherokee County, your tornado warning continues as well. Let's take a look at the latest debris tracker. We're not seeing anything of importance on that storm or that storm, so both storms don't appear to be causing damage. But that could change, and I'm particularly concerned about the one north of Marshall, because that just looks like it's absorbing a lot of clear air into it. The one thing working against it is as it tracks northeast, it might detach from the nice, warm, juicy air mass that is in place here. If it keeps running northeast, it'll run itself right out of that moist, warm environment conducive for tornadic activity. So, the longer this storm goes northeast, I think, ultimately we won't have to worry about it much longer. But it just kind of depends. Because I think the environment's still real juicy there in Marshall, Texas. So if it does produce any tornadic activity before it leaves the state of Texas, I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm watching Stephen Jones and Ben McCone's live chase video right now, and they're repositioning, trying to keep up with the storm. I believe they're coming into Marshall, and it's pretty tough navigating through Marshall, so we'll see if they can catch it and see anything. But yeah, again, folks north of Marshall, in Nesbitt right now, folks in Nesbitt need to be in tornado shelter and avoid travel between Jefferson and Marshall. Be close to tornado shelter if you're kind of in that midpoint between the two cities. Our mini Sabine River supercell is just about out of the state of Texas now, but folks in Louisiana, keep your eye on that. it is just about out of the state of Texas. So Texan threat is coming to a close with that one. And we're watching Rusk and Cherokee counties. Just every single update's pretty important here. And I'm wondering if... See, the circulation was in here, but I'm wondering if all this activity north and south of it, it's just clustering it. It's kind of just smothering it out. So I'm not sure if that couplet, that area of rotation, is going to last a whole lot longer. Uh-oh. Okay, so I mentioned this about 10-15 minutes ago. Maybe the southern storm, the southern portion of this multicellular business, maybe that would start taking over, and I do see signs that it's trying to take over. Unimpeded inflow coming into it from the south-southeast. This portion of the storm, if it continues to intensify, it's going to pass just north of Mount Enterprise. But folks, anybody just west of Mount Enterprise is probably seeing the storm. It's probably looking rather spooky. Okay, we got a tornado warning reissued DeSoto, Sabine County, Louisiana. So they reissued a tornado warning on that Sabine River storm. But that is Louisiana's problem, unfortunately for them. I think we're going to be talking about some rather concerning issues now here on the south side of this storm complex. It's currently outside of the tornado warning, but is scooting parallel to the warning box just south of it. And if we look at velocity, we see a major uptick in the inflow. So this right here, strong inflow picking up. If we kind of look at it over time, we see those colors really start to bump up. So inflow is definitely picking up in that southern portion of the tornadic supercellular cluster. So folks just west of Mount Enterprise, you're real close to the storm. Keep an eye on it. It's outside of the tornado warning box, but it may deserve a tornado warning here in the next 5 minutes. And we'll see if we have a velocity update. Not quite yet. Make sure there's no debris being tracked yet. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting less concerned about this whole mess, right? Because rain is just burying it from the south and north, east and the west. Just when you see a tornado, normally on radar you have a supercell that accompanies it with a nice hook and clear air wrapping into the inflow. Right now we don't see that. This is more of a spin up in the grander scheme of things. So now this area is more favorable in the short term, I do think, to really start spinning up. Again, you have the southernmost portion of the storm is able to take in warm, moist inflow unimpeded, and really doesn't have anything to disturb it, as opposed to our current issues, which I believe are waning here south of Henderson. Just a lot of rain falling into that mesocyclone and disrupting the flow. So folks just barely west and north of Mount Enterprise, be on the lookout for dangerous storm that is just outside the tornado warning box, but may very well receive its own tornado warning box here shortly. Does show signs of intensifying and becoming a fairly major issue if it does take advantage of its environment. Okay, back to the Harrison County storm north of Marshall. Now this storm is just northwest of Marshall. It passed through Nesbitt. Still has plenty of clear air to work with here. So fairly unimpeded inflow. Shouldn't have much in its way if it tries to spin up a tornado. Now the reflectivity, the way it looks on reflectivity isn't super interesting at this moment. We do kind of look more, you want kind of more of like a bean shape when you're looking for tornadic activity, mesocyclone activity. We're not really getting much of a bean shape anymore with this storm, but again, it could be cycling. There's still a bit of a inflow notch there. So it might be trying to spin. It's probably going to be real broad. Let's check velocity. And, yeah, that's definitely still worthy of tornado warning. May not look like the best storm ever or the meanest storm ever, but again, it's got uninterrupted inflow. Not much in its way from producing a tornado in the short term. So folks south of Jefferson, north of Marshall here, you can see the track coming right up toward this highway between Marshall and Jefferson. Should be there in about 7-8 minutes. So get in your tornado shelter, guys, anywhere south of Jefferson and well north of Marshall. I do expect a tornado warning box there to be. I expect a tornado warning box to get thrown in here for the rest of Harrison County. Okay. So the tornado warning just expired. It looks for that original tornado warning just expired. Waiting to see if they reissue one, kind of for the Marion-Harrison County border. But still take this storm seriously. It may not look extremely dangerous at this second, but there's definitely still pretty strong rotation there. Just it's kind of figuring itself out, trying to organize. It might still be recycling. I don't really like the look of that. That's still short term, kind of scary. Probably no tornado at this moment. I highly doubt that there's a tornado now. Might take a little longer to get itself figured out, but there's really not a lot stopping it right now. Now in the next couple of hours it might run into cooler air and start to fizzle out, but the short term, over the next 45 minutes to an hour, even though the storm is no longer tornado warned, we're definitely keeping an eye on it as it travels south of Jefferson and over into the Louisiana border. And let us pivot once again, Cherokee and Rusk counties. If you're looking for your town to be mentioned on radar, on live weather coverage, we have free interactive radar on our website. Make sure to check that out so you don't have to wait on me. I'm just trying to cover the most important issues at a time. Now, as of right now, would be the Cherokee and Rusk County tornado warning, south of Henderson, north of Mount Enterprise. If we zoom out, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Houston County, Texas. That's just northeast of Crockett, Kennard, Alto, Texas. Just a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but still keep an eye on that. Watch out for that. So our big issue right there is going to be the Rusk, Cherokee County. And as I kind of figured, that southern portion of the storm that was peaking out just north of Mount Enterprise, that just received a tornado warning as well. So we have overlapping tornado warnings for the same area. This is Panola and Rusk County for 21 minutes. And that just got issued for the south side of the storm, where it can really utilize unimpeded inflow coming out of Mount Enterprise, warm, muggy air, without any contamination from outside thunderstorm activity. So that is traveling just north of Mount Enterprise. So Mount Enterprise proper, you are not in the path of the storm. But travelers and folks that live between Henderson and Mount Enterprise, get indoors, get away from windows. Tornado shelter needs to be sought right now. So I'm going to add Panola County. Just does include part of Panola County, Texas. Just a moment. Let's take a look at the velocity data, or which way the wind is blowing and how fast. And we see maybe, not an extreme immediate threat, but definitely something to watch out for. It's got increased inflow into the storm, so it's definitely trying to grow and mature, intensify, and rotation is definitely evident. It could get stronger as it traverses through the remainder of Rusk County. And into Panola County eventually. If we want to look downstream, folks, west of Carthage, be on the lookout. I think this will pass north and west of Carthage at this current heading. Okay, it'll be close. Carthage, keep an eye on it in case it wants to turn right. But, folks on the west and north side of Carthage, relatively populated city there, really watch this storm. Now, folks between Henderson and Mount Enterprise, avoid travel. Get indoors, get away from windows, lowest level, most interior part of your home. Folks downwind of this thing, get ready to seek tornado shelter. Be close. Have a helmet, shoes, long clothing, water bottles, maybe batteries and a flashlight in your tornado shelter. Before you actually jump in, make sure you have some of those items. Very important if you do get inflicted with a tornado and tornado damage. Some of those things are very important, particularly a helmet. It doesn't hurt you to have a helmet, and it can definitely help you. So yeah, that seems to be the bigger deal right now. The storm north of Marshall seems to be kind of dwindling down. It could have caught up with the cold front, bunch of colder air pouring out from earlier convection. That may be just what happened here. Let's take a look at velocity. It does still show some rotation there, and we'll continue to monitor it, but the overall structure on radar does not really impress me a whole lot. I think that perhaps it is running into colder air already, along all that earlier ongoing storm activity just continues to reinforce colder air, pushing it out. And when these storms continue to move northeast, if it's right along a bunch of stormy, rainy activity and you're talking about a cold front, odds are it's not going to last. Now, what will last are storms like this. This is starting to take on a much better presentation. So definitely capable of producing a tornado. This tornado warned for part of Rusk and Panola County for 20 more minutes. And then this storm out here, it is out of Texas, but Louisiana, friends out there, heads up. That's way out in the open, warm sector, away from all this activity. So not a whole lot of disruption factor for that storm. So it might just continue to parade northeast and could start dropping tornadoes. But again, that's out of Texas as Louisiana's issue now, moving northeast. Our main issue right now that I'll be hyper-focused on is a newer area of rotation that I pointed out about 10 minutes ago. Now currently north of Mount Enterprise, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Folks west and north of Carthage, heads up, this is coming your way in about 15 to 25 minutes. Carthage proper, you might, you want to watch this thing and be close to tornado shelter, but you might make it out because the way it's moving should take it just north of Carthage. But folks between Henderson and Carthage, definitely avoid travel. Heavy rain, high winds, dangerous lightning, and potential for a tornado at any given moment here as this storm now north of Mount Enterprise, south and east of Henderson, continues to move northeast at 45 miles per hour. Can we see anything on velocity? Not a whole lot has changed, but the inflow is still kicking. So inflow on the this is more like the rear flank because we're looking at the Shreveport radar, but oh boy. Alright, sorry about that. So yeah, this area of rotation still ongoing. Kind of status quo for the moment. No major changes. We're still watching it. The supercell as a whole, again, unimpeded from other entities like outside supercells. Oh boy. Okay. It is nap time. But it is also tornado warning coverage time. Just a moment. We're going to take a brief break here. All right. Well, your balding chief, David Reimer, is woke up from a nap, a well-needed nap, and staying up all night. He definitely needed a break. So now I'm in need of a break because my son needs a break and needs attending to. So David Reimer's going to take over live coverage. Be sure to follow Texas Storm Chasers and look out for the next following live stream. He's going to continue to cover this live now that he is awake and good to go. So thanks, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Boy, oh boy. I thought I had him asleep. Stay safe, guys.